Hey, welcome to the Cornerbird stream. I'll be doing the same stuff, rendering and lighting my Messmer sculpt project. And today I'll be doing some lighting. I'm not ready to stream, but I will never be ready, so let's just start now. First off, I will kind of go through what I did off stream between the previous stream and this one. I think there were quite a lot of changes. I think I'll try and see if there are new things that I figured out. So like if you look at if you're new to the streams, I've been doing some Blender live streams for my nomad sculpt, and the stuff that you're seeing on the left side of this Blender window are just my notes that I put in the text editor. So I think if you look at the tab here, there's a text editor tab. You can create a new file and you can write notes in this, which is quite cool. Like I really like the colors too, so I'm just sticking to all the default stuff. But yeah, so I think this text file was kind of like just like this when I started out, and now it has expanded from all the new things that I've been looking up or trying to learn. So yeah, it may look overwhelming, but this is just things that I built up over the streams. So I'm not going to go through the ones that I've already went through. But I guess because it's a Monday, I'm kind of just trying to orientate myself again. Like, I'm really not ready to stream, but you know, it's Monday, so let's just do it. Okay. I also had a lot of fun during the weekend playing Hollow Knight. I think I bought it when it came out in 2017, and I didn't finish it, so I'm trying to finish it now. I think I'm getting close to the end. I think also like the art design for that, I think the voice acting for the characters are a bit self-conscious, but like the art style is really cute. So and like I like Dark Souls games, so playing Hollow Knight was really fun for me. Okay, I am getting off track again. Okay, so well, this is something that I picked up last stream, I think. So if you press Alt-Shift-Z, it will remove all the extra stuff. Like, it's kind of cool, but I kind of wish that this will not disable the selection, because sometimes I just want the extras to be removed, like so. But yeah, and I'm not really sure whether you can do that. You know what, I'm just gonna check extras. Yeah, maybe overlay, or maybe if I search Alt-Shift-Z. If you're wondering, like this is just the way that I've been working, like slowly building up little things bit by bit, because picking up Blender or picking up Nomad Sculpt can be really overwhelming, especially for someone who just starting their 3D journey. So this is just one of the ways that I used to cope with learning new things. So Alt Shift Z. Yeah, I don't know whether I can just find this, like just this extra toggle here. I think that would be good. But I think overall, if I'm not planning to select anything, that it's fine. I mean, like I can just select this and know that it's being selected. So I guess that is like that's all right. Let me just, yeah, say so Alt Shift Z to bring those things back. Control spacebar to maximize. So Control spacebar maximizes. So that's cool. It's really good for when I want to look at the rendered view. I think that's about it for that one. These are outliner stuff. I've gone through that. These are, oh, I created some hotkeys. Not created, but I've changed some hotkeys to cycle. So cycle workspace, I think it used to be something different, but I use it quite a lot, I think. So it cycles through this, so that's useful. What else? Let me just go back here. So that one is useful. I also remove Ctrl Q to quit Blender because I'm using that to cycle through the workspace now, because like Q and W is like side by side. But I don't know, I feel quite old school. I just click the X button on the right hand corner, top corner, to close my Blender files. So yeah, that counts like that frees up the Q button for something else. Set active. These are camera stuff. And something that I'm quite happy with is that when I was, you know what, I'm gonna save first. I feel like this, you know what, is right now is a metal material. I'll just keep it. So when I was setting out the cameras, right now I have one. This is I'm not using this. I don't know why. Not use. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 different camera views. I've done some test renders, so I can show it later on. But yeah, like in the process of setting up these 5 camera views, I've gotten a little bit faster at setting up cameras. So that's cool. Like one of the things that I found useful is to align camera to view, this one. So I'm just gonna demo it really quickly. Shift A, camera. Okay, so there's a new camera here. And then what I do is to press Control F. And then now this camera is the one that, let me just switch back. Now this camera is the one that I'm adjusting. And this is also something that I mapped to, I did a custom hotkeys mapping for, because I use it a lot. And then I look around, maybe like this. Look around here maybe. And then, well, the thing is that I'm not really sure how to do like a super accurate camera mapping, because aligning camera to view means that you'll snap the camera to wherever you're looking at right now. So I'm going to do that. So somewhere around here, maybe. Control. Oh, and before that, make sure that I am quite centered on, I'm looking at the center of the object. Control, and then select this, and then Control Shift F. So now this camera is here. I don't really know how to do an exact match of like what I want it to be, but if you go under the view and then switch to camera to view, then you can move your view and change the camera view change the camera angles at the same time. But in the process of making all the 5 camera angles, I don't think I used this that much, but it is very useful. What I used more was like just moving the cameras with the G key and rotating the camera with the R key. So yeah, that's about it. I've gotten like maybe 1 second faster, and I'm just really happy with that. So copy material, that's an old one. Oh, something, I'm making sure that this is the right camera. So like one mistake that I made in the past was that I'll create a new camera, but then I wouldn't, where's that? The active camera would be something else. Like maybe this would be the active camera. But I will think that if I select the new camera and I Control Shift F, it would change that camera. It will set the new position to this camera, but instead it only aligns the active camera like so. So like that was a mistake that I made a lot off stream. Well, like I'll be creating new cameras and then I try to align them, and then 5 minutes later I realized that I was using the wrong camera to align them. Yeah, so that was a learning process for me. So let me just make sure that is like I don't want to mess up. Okay, so I'm gonna delete this camera because I don't need that one. And something cool that I learned in regards to the shading tab or the node graph, because I think I was mentioning a lot in the previous stream that I wish that there was a way to connect things more easily. So like instead of doing this like that, instead of doing like this, I wish that there was a faster way to kind of like connect this bump node to the normal of this. And there is a way to connect things fast. So I just disconnected that. So if you hold down Alt and you right click on the node and drag over to the other node, it will do a lazy connect. So yeah, this was exactly what I want to find out, and I'm glad that I found this because it's a lot faster. See, if I just right click this and right click this, Blender will try to connect what they think is the most suitable, which is really useful. I think if it's like a mixed node like this, they will try to connect to, I guess, like the first gray nodes. So let's say if you want it to be plugged into roughness, I think you still need to do like a manual connection to do that. But in terms of like connecting bump node to this is, oops, I'm still not used to the shortcut key. If you do this, it's really fast and it is going to what I want, which is just the normal mapping for the bump node. So yeah, like even for this one, let's say if you already have this connected and you want to connect this to this, it will automatically connect to strength. So you just have to see like what it defaults to. And when I was doing these setups, I just make sure that nothing is connected to this node. And let me see, alt, drag, and bam, that's done. So yeah, that was a really cool discovery from a YouTube tutorial on like Blender shortcut keys that I think was like top 10 Blender shortcut keys by Blender Secrets, I think. I really can't remember all these names. But yeah, really cool video. So this is one of my favorite finds of the week. In outliner, big sharp shadows. I think these are just reminders to myself. And then, well, something that happened too was that once in a while, Blender will crash when I switch to the render tab. So this is just a reminder to remember to save, especially when I want to go to a bigger screen like this. So just like remind myself that I should save before I swap my my views. Because I think was it Friday or Saturday when I was setting up all the cameras, and I was kind of like halfway through it, I set up 3 cameras already, and I was like, oh, I want to see how it looks like rendered, and then it crashed. And when I opened my file, all the cameras were not there anymore. I felt so annoyed at myself for not saving. So yeah, remember to save, guys. It's really important to save. These are the things that I did off stream, I think. So like I set up the camera angles. I've also set up the defocus. I think in Blender 4.2, it seems like the defocus is better, I think. And right now, oh right, I keep forgetting that it's in the camera tab. So if you look at depth of field, these numbers right here, they're just the distance I set and the f-stops. And a good way that I like to do, or I've kind of like realized that I should be doing, like this one, is I'm not really sure whether you can see, but is to render one test render without any defocus, and then you render another one with defocus. Yeah, let me just try and bring this up. So this is a good way for me to check where the defocus level is. I think in Blender 4.2 you can just eyedrop the objects, and I think because they kind of like reprogram or rewrote the script for the depth of field, that it's working properly. But I think in 4.0, which is the one that I'm using right now for no reason, like whenever I eyedrop something, it doesn't feel accurate, or I feel like it's completely off. So I've been manually just changing the distance and seeing like which one I like more, and also setting the f-stops to see which one I like. I think for the cape I did a f2.8. So yeah, like this was just an easy way to check whether or not you like the amount of defocus and whether or not you like the distance of where the defocus is, or where the focus is, I guess. So with this one, this is the face close-up. It's f4.0 because I didn't want to lose too much detail I didn't want to lose too much details here and here. So it's like f4.0 instead of 2.8. So, well, since I'm here, let me just go through what I rendered off stream. I think starting from here, this is just like a Conabet tradition of rendering things with glass, even though I'm not going to post this online. But you can see it here, so that's cool. But yeah, these are just things that I do to entertain myself and to keep me happy. So, I really like this. It's really pretty. I guess it'd be nice to have some sort of just like a glass Messmer sphere with a flame spiral on my table that is glass, but I don't even know how to go about doing a glass print, so that will be a dream for the future. Yeah, so also this is around the time when I was starting on creating the different camera angles, so I can just like go through a little bit of the thought process on how I settled with the final look. So I think like this was just me putting the camera angle onto it and just rendering to see how it looks like. But the thing that I don't like about this one is that the snake kind of, I mean, I'm not really looking out for silhouettes, but, and maybe I might be wrong with this. I don't recall what the snake looks like in my final choice. But it kind of feels like it's lost its edge and it's a little bit too close to her. Like I don't like this intersection right here. So I prefer it to be stand alone in this space. So yeah, and like this felt a little bit static to me, so I did like a z-axis rotation, and then this was just me looking at like, oh, if I put it more on Messmer's side, does it work? And it's not working because it feels quite off-centered, or in some way this area feels really redundant. There's too many empty spaces right here. I don't really need the details right here to show up. It just feels too much. So like I prefer if the two characters are more kind of like in the lines of the wanted grids, so that they both have their own kind of like, they are both quite equal in terms of the amount of attention that they will get. So this was just me going up closer to align them in that grid of wanteds. Then this is just like looking, is this better? If it's not better, I'm gonna switch back to what was better. I think this one too, I kind of like the snake scales here not being cut off. So like if you see, yeah, like compared to this, I just personally like this better. So this is what I end up keeping. And yeah, like in some sense, I prefer the snake head to be a little bit lower down than high up here. Like there's a feeling of like it's being cut off too much at the top when I did this angle. And then this was just rotational fixes. And this was the final that I chose until Blender crashed and I lost the camera angle. So I have to redo it. But you know, I'm kind of glad that I got the chance to redo it, I guess, because I like this final one more. It has kind of the tilt that I want. It's really minor, but I think it kind of, in some sense, it leans this goal more diagonal if you look at the goal, and I just like that more. So this one is done. I mean, they're all done, but this is the final angle for the close-up. Then this one's the cape. The same things. I just seeing which one works better. Like for this one, I prefer that the wings face towards the camera more. So I kind of like switch it back to something like this, because I really like the sculpt that I did for the wings and the cape. But I don't want to do too many camera angles too, because like I think 5 camera angles is enough. Then this is just like the same issue where I feel like there's just too much redundancy in the bottom screen, and I would prefer if it shows more of the top. So that's just me switching the camera back up. And yeah, then this is just like really minor camera angle changes to what I like. And same thing, like Blender crashed, so I redid it, and this is the final look. So I kind of opt for like slightly zoomed out compared to this one, just so that it looks like it's not too cramped. But of course, like all these are just personal rationalization to make myself stop adjusting and like nitpicking on every single thing so that I can move on in life. Then this one, I think I have a older render for this, which is this one. But then the problem with this one is that the spear in the middle is I found it too centered. It's just straight down in the center, it feels like it's just cutting the image in half. So I just did a quick fix of just moving the camera more to the right and rotate it towards the flames, so that it's just a little bit more off-centered and a little bit less of the camera being completely pointing to the side, kind of like this. But this one is this is in the background, so I think it's all right. This one cannot be like this because it's one of the main features in the foreground. So this one is done. I think this, I mean, I'm not really sure, but I guess after I added the defocus, it looks better. Then this was also another shot before it crashed. I can't starting to think that I like this more than the one that I redid. But like both of them have their own. They both have their own like qualities to them. Let me just sit further away and look at it. Yeah, I'm not really sure about this angle yet. But it's still, I can still change it in the future. I don't need to look at it right now. So this is just once all the cameras are set up, I start working on the amount of defocus that I want for each of them. So this is before and this is after. Before, after. I like that the defocus helps to push these two out more, because when it was all in focus, the snake kind of they both kind of disappeared among everything. So this is, I think it's great that I could push it. I'm not really sure whether the snake hit is a bit it's a bit, not sure whether the defocus level is a bit wrong, like if this is not completely sharp maybe, but then this is sharp. So I think it's just the low poly getting in the way. So like for this, I definitely need to render the snake hit with the original high poly mesh. Same with the flames, they're all quite low poly. But like for testing, just do everything with as low poly as you can, and then reserve the high poly renders for when everything is settled. So this one is the same thing. Yeah, I ended up keeping a lot of details for this camera angle. I'm not really sure whether or not I want to do more defocus on this one, but I think not really, because I think I did one with a greater amount of defocus and it started hitting this one, and it kind of like look a bit, yeah, not sure, like did look a bit off to me. Maybe not. Then this one's the same, because this is the shot that I'll use to show the whole scene, or like this is just a camera angle to kind of like show off the sculpt. So I'm quite happy with keeping most of the sculpts in focus. So it's not really a huge amount of defocus. So like, you know, like how sometimes people when you look at the art station, you look at the sculpts and the images that you put up, some of the angles are just to show the kind of like the intricacy of the details, or maybe to show the model better. So this is one of the shots that I'll use to do that. Although one of the issues is that this is quite empty, I guess, but maybe it doesn't really matter. Then this is also another shot where I'm just showing off the flame sculpts. So that's, then this one was a bit hard because I'm not really sure, like, do I do this really sharp or do I do it more defocused like this? Because the more defocused this is, the more this will stand out. But yeah, I'm still thinking about this one. Like, I think this one will depend a lot on what materials I choose for this angle. And also the other thing is that because this is a top-down view, a lot of the elements will blend together. So I will definitely need to do like a dual material, or at least two different materials, or I don't think I'll do two different colors, but two different materials for this shot specifically. So I'll just adjust the depth of field afterwards. But I think I end up using this. So like it's not that much difference in depth of field, but it's just like a little bit so that it pushes this out a little bit, because I thought that it looks cool that way. And then this was just a HDR test, a more glass test, because I like glass. If you look at them as a whole, it looks really cool. But I only end up just using the most default, which is this one. I like to use this one because I really like colors like these. And like the purple doesn't really show up once I put a lot of lighting on this. Same goes for all these things. I think the thing that I look out the most for is what the colors of the shadows are like. So I think like overall this is too white, but if I reduce the strength of the HDRI, this becomes too green, and I don't know, I've kept some of this, and yeah, I've never found a reason to use green tinted lighting for my stuff. So this one, I like this because of the color variations in this, but it doesn't really fit. It kind of fits for glass. But I just rendered these for my own amusement. I'm not really sure whether I can use this for the final renders too. But if I am going to use glass for the final renders, it would be for the wings and the flames, and not really for the characters. Although this kind of looks quite sick. This one kind of looks like shit. So yeah, it's just, yeah, I'm not sure. I like the look of this. I'm like a glass simp. And I really like blue colors, so it's yeah, this one is just completely unreadable. So it's, oh, but this looks quite cool, I guess. I mean, maybe they all look like shit to people who are really experienced with 3D modeling and rendering, but it's so shiny and it's so blue. Just like talking to myself here about how I like shiny stuff and blue stuff. Okay. Yeah, so things like this is too orange, but I'm still thinking about whether or not I want to use this. But I feel like most likely I'm not going to, because the colors will kind of like mainly come from the light source. So all these are just renders with HDRI only. No lighting, no spotlight, area lights, anything. So once the lights come in, they're going to look really different. The main thing that I use the HDRIs for is just to get these really nice variations like this. So that's what I was looking out for in these. Like, which one do I choose? Like this might be too blue, I think. Like this looks too sunny, even though I really like the colors for this. Yeah, so even though I'm not using everything, I will kind of like most likely use only one or two of them. It's just a corner bit tradition to just render, to render multiple HDRs because it's cool. and because I can do it, so why not? So back to this. The final thing that I did was to create like in some sense a default material if I need to. I'm still not sure whether or not I want to use this. I think this was just a material with, let me just look at it. If I look at the shading tab, this was just something that I created really quickly because I didn't really want to spend too much time on it. Something like that, where I think I was using the bump maps. I think this one. So I was using this bump map, but I didn't want everything to be so consistent. So I added a random noise texture like this. So this was before. And I mean, this is the original bump map that I have on one of the materials. Then this was just like a random noise texture, and then I kind of like merged them together like so. Then this created kind of like a variation in bumps, I guess. I'm not super happy with it, but it's still, it's not too bad for something that was made really fast. And then plug that into this. Added some bit of subsurface. I know that for these, at least for 4.0, all these weight thing, it should be set to like 0 or 1, but I just need a little bit, so it still works as a kind of like alpha thing. I tried adding code, but it looked weird. Added sheen to this. I don't know whether I adjusted this or not. Yeah. So that's how this looks like. Something like that. But the thing is that it looks cooler here than in the renders. So if I bring this up again, and I kind of think that if I want to use this material, I would just do like a default gray lighting with like just to show the sculpt. But I'm still not sure whether or not I want to use this. So if you see this one, can I? So this is with some subsurface and sheen and specular, maybe? I'm not sure whether it puts specular in this. So I think it helps a little bit more. And this is just the bump map set to the max. Not the max, but like set to strength to 1. So that I can just take a look at what it's doing. So this is what it's doing at the max strength. Like I kind of want areas like these to still have some sort of texture, but I don't really know how to create a softer fall off on these white areas. Like even with color ramp, like if I adjust this, like ramp, if I adjust these, the fall off changes really fast. So it's not like a 0 to 100. It feels like 0 to 1, where it just switches to black almost immediately. So yeah, but I'm happy with how it looks like because it was just a really quick setup. yeah, so hopefully I can use this material for doing those kind of, not really for turntables, but something like that, because I'm not going to do a turntable for this. Most likely if I'm going to post a turntable, it will just be, let me just go back to this, it will just be a recording of the Blender viewport, something like that, because I think that's enough. Yeah, it looks a lot it looks a lot cooler this way, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, so that's most of the things that I did off stream. I'm quite happy that I managed to hit a lot of my to-do list. There's also things like making small adjustments to the existing materials. Like this one has been adjusted a little bit. Also neaten it up a tiny bit more. So like, it's really tiny adjustments. Like this was the original, this is the new one. I think what I did with this was to I think it's not really that visible in this, but when I added the coat thing, which is when I add this coat weight, it helps to break up the, you know what, let me see if I can find, can I find, oh, I think I didn't save it. Yeah, I think I didn't save it, but I think if I can't look here, no. Is it this one? Yeah, it's something like, I like that. Oh wait, no, this is not it. Oh, so like, I like this material, this one, and I want to bring over the specular. So this one has like 0 specular. This one has 0 specular, and I just want to take a bit of these highlights here, like these. It's a bit hard to see in this, but it's more visible in the renders, this thing, and I want to apply it to that. So that's what I did. So if you just look at this area right here, I think oh wait, no, if you look at this, you can see the difference. Yeah, so like that's just something that I personally like, that I brought over. And for this one, the pole, I think in the previous stream I mentioned that, or the previous stream, I mentioned that I don't like the ridges on this material because that is too uniform. So the ridges, the bump map that I got from this, oh yeah, so this pole material and this anisotropic metal material, they share the same bump map. But the thing that I like about the way that the metal material did like, the thing that I like the quality of the bridges on the metal material is that in some areas it disappears. So some areas it has the ridges, some areas it disappears. So that's something that I like. But when I transfer it to this material, I think because it was so reflective that it it showed up everywhere. I think is it this one? Yeah, so something like this. You see, like, it showed up at every single face, everywhere, like it just showing up. So that was just something that I did off stream, where I took some of the characteristics from this and brought it over to this, so that the ridges doesn't show up everywhere. Although I don't really know whether I saved that image, but it looks like this now, so that's cool. I think that was one of the to-do lists that I really wanted to hit. So yeah, it's really, if you're like a person who gets depressed or anxious like me, having a to-do list, like a very simple one, is so effective to just get the small wins of the day. So the next things on my list would be, and like the main event for this stream, is to start setting up proper lights, because right now the lights were just like thrown in really fast. I mean, they look quite nice, I guess, but they were all just thrown in really fast in like 5 minutes maybe. And I think if I look at like this angle, for example, I don't think it's really working out for these, although I can't be sure about that. Like, I think I can just improve all of them by doing a proper setup. So that is something that I want to hit now. Yeah, I think for this one, I'm not really sure whether the fog is too strong. Like, it kind of adds to the mood, but yeah, not really sure. I set up the fog to add variations to the background, and I was just testing things out. So yeah, so let's just get to it. I think with setting up stuff, it's really effective to have one screen that, and of course before we change anything, let's just save, to have one screen that is rendered like this, so that we can make the adjustments here. And yeah, let me just duplicate this. This was just another text editor, because in my previous stream I wasn't talking, so I was just like typing here. But because I'm talking now, or at least for now, I don't need that, so I can close it up. So let's set it up. I think I'll do this. Let me just set this up. And I think I'm not really sure whether or not I will want to use this material. Guess I should just clean this up a bit. Yeah, I'm not sure whether I want to use this material or this one to do the lighting setup. Control J to frame this and to bring up this, and label this as okay. And also change this to the same size as everything else. It's around 50. Yeah, maybe I'll try this first. Cause like maybe the specular and all that will get in the way of the lighting setup. Okay, so first off, maybe I'll try something different. I'm not going to start with the main camera. I'm going to start with this camera right here. Not sure whether I should render with defocus or not. Yeah, maybe I should just remove defocus. Maybe it will render just a tiny bit faster. I think besides that, I also have to make sure that this is disconnected so that there's nothing rendering in the background. So just as a basic principles that I follow for lighting is to first switch everything off like that, and then I'll add, and then I'll add a light, but maybe I'll just add a new light. So maybe I haven't added lights since creating this file, so I'm going to be a bit slow. I think something I like to do is to just add an era light like that, and then press G, press Z, and bring that up a bit. I think I can put this quite close because the camera is just showing. Where's the camera? Okay, so this is the camera. The camera is showing this area right here, so I can put the light source quite close to it. Like, let's see what it looks like really close up. I guess this is too much. Like, what if it's down? Oh, I guess I can just rotate this. How do I rotate? So if I rotate this 180, I don't know whether that would be cool. Like, maybe that would be cool. Oh, something else that I was thinking of doing. Like, I'm wondering whether I should make the flames glow, I guess. I think if I select I think this is around the time when I'm finally using the collection groups to choose stuff. I think, where's the flames? I can't, there's too many things. Okay, the flames are here. So I'm just going to how do I go about doing this? Okay, I'm going to maybe I'll duplicate this. This is for the plane. This is, I'm not really sure where I'm using that. Let me look at the offering data. What's camera 3? Which one's camera 3? I see a camera 3 here. I'm not sure. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to duplicate this one. I think you do that by... Can I just duplicate this? Wait, how do I do that? I keep forgetting stuff. Duplicate material. Apparently it is this one. Oh yeah, okay. So if you click on this, it duplicates the material. So I will render emissive. Maybe, yeah, I think that's fine. That's alright for me. So right now, this fireball right here has this material. I'm gonna change it to something else first so that I can see, and then I'm going to select this, and to select that, I keep forgetting my shortcut keys. I think to select that, I'm gonna see first. Where is it? Right S. Okay. If I go back here, if I right, so right click and S for select objects. So right click S, and that's all selected. Okay, I think that's good. Plus this one, and I'm going to Shift Q and copy materials to select it. Oh wait, it's the wrong order. Select object with materials and then copy it. Shift Q and C. Yep, it's all coming back to me now. So if I do this and then shift click like that and then Shift QC, then now it copies that. And I'm gonna do the same like this, Shift QC, and then do the same for this extra one. Okay, this and this. Not really sure why it's... Wait, isn't it correct if I do this and this? Huh. Somehow it feels like it was supposed to be the other way around, where it's supposed to be... I'm supposed to select the material with... the object with the material that I want to copy first before that, but you know what? It's already done. So this one's going to be emissive. Let me try and see if just doing this does anything. Okay, let me just... Hopefully this is not going to look like shit. Let me just look at this. Okay, so it is working. It is glowing. If I remove this, where is the light? Where is the area light? That I think it's this one. So if I remove this, yeah, it is glowing now. And I guess I'll just keep it white for now. I think it looks good if it's just white. So maybe if I... Let me see what Messmer's fire look like. Messmer flame. Oh, Elden Ring DLC. It's quite red. Although in the story trailer it's more orange. I think it's like It's a bit inconsistent. Maybe I set this to 0.5. Although I don't know whether that helps. Actually, what am I doing? I should just be working from this. I think it's a little bit too red. This too orange. I'm just eyeballing right now based on the trailer shots. I think this is still too orange. 0.01. This is too red. I think the issue is that Messmer's flames have a yellow center, and then it expands out to really orangey red, but I don't have the yellow center right here. I'm just going to look at what the average is. Looking for the average. I think the average is maybe I just don't need it to be so strong. 0.8. Or maybe I need it to be that strong. But in the first place, I don't even need it to be that to be so bright, I think. It's my first time doing emissive stuff, so I'm really just figuring things out along the way. 0.01. I think it's still quite supposed to be quite red. 0.0, maybe 0.009. Also 0.01 good. 0.1. No, 0.1 is too much. I think if I no, this is not, I think this is not bad. So I'll keep it at just looking at the extremes so that I can make a better decision, I guess. 0.1. I think I need to remove this. Where is the plane? I need to remove the plane because it's getting in the way. No, I think I'm just going to render first. So making sure that it's 0.1, because the lower it is, the more it will try to clear up noise and it just takes too long. I don't think I need 512. I can probably do things. I need to write down the numbers here because I keep forgetting. Like 512. 256. 1024 2048 4096 4096. I think that's correct. And then 1 2 256 128. Just making sure that I did the math right. And let's go back here. 5 1 2 maybe 256 is fine. And do I need denoise? Not really sure yet. Oh, and then making sure that this is fine. I think 2K is alright. For now I don't need this, because that will just add to the time over. I think that's about it. Let's render. Oh yeah, made the mistake again to keep forgetting to switch this off. I'm gonna switch that off. It's appearing more red in the renders. I don't think it's that red. I don't even know whether I want to have this redness inside. Like maybe it just makes more sense for it to not glow. But I'm just trying things out. Or maybe I'll just set it back to, let me just see what it looks like when it's brighter. Maybe I'll just set it back to white. Oh, but this makes the corner bits so cute. I think they were kind of lost in the flames when the materials are not different. But then again, like, I think as long as the materials of the flames are different, they will just stand out otherwise. Yeah, I'm not really sure about this. Let me try. Like, I think somehow in my head it was a possibly good idea, but now that I'm looking at it, I guess not really, because I think it will interfere with everything else. So what was the default? Was it just, let me just bring up a default one. 0. Okay, so that is tested and I have cleared my doubts in my head, and I'm not going to do it. But maybe soft surface might be good, but maybe not. emissive paths for flames. Nope. Okay, so I'm gonna just stick with the original plan. But it's always good to test things out, just to make sure that, like, sometimes things will feel good in your head, but it's only when you're doing it or when it's done that you will know for sure that something is good or not. So it's always good to test things out, even if they feel stupid or they feel really cool. Like sometimes when something gets inflated in your head, it will be quite humbling when you when it looks stupid and then you're like, like, I see, it's stupid after all. Okay, so this down lighting is quite cool, although it doesn't make sense, but maybe it makes sense in, like, let's say if I change this. I think before that, let me make sure that it's at the place that I want. I'm just gonna put it really close to the it looks like a portal right now. So as long as I'm gonna put it up high enough for it to show up in the renders like this. And I think this will act as the emissive pass that I felt like wasn't really working out. I'm gonna try and let's try and scale it up just to see what it does. And of course, it's really hard to tell what it's doing unless you are in the view. So let me just, I need to remember to drink some water now and then. So before, where's before? Okay, before, and wait, no, this is before and after. So I like the focus on this middle section right here. And what this does, it creates a lot of shadows on the edges and it frames this quite nicely, I think. But I'm just going to do thing. I'm just going to I'm just gonna select this and scale it up and render that in the new slot. And while it's rendering, I'm just gonna take a quick toilet break, so be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I think I might. I'm not really sure whether I'm gonna keep both of them. Just let me undo that real quick. Can I undo it? Maybe I'll set it to just the size of this square tile in the middle, which is somehow not centered. I kind of thought that I put everything in the center, but it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna check real quick if the, oh my god, forgot to save. I'm gonna check real quick if having a HDRI would be effective for this one, and also to see which one I like. I think this one's too bright, but I'm just gonna quickly render out every HDRI and the default. This one. Thing. Yeah, maybe the HDRI is enough to bring the edges out, because this one's quite dark too. That's why I multiplied the strength. Let's try it. This one, slot 4. Then this one looks a bit bright. But let me just look at what the default is so that I can make the adjustments. Like, this is definitely too bright. Maybe I'm just gonna render this darker, because this is already so bright. Maybe 0.2 is good. Slot 5. So even though I say that I will probably only end up using 1 or 2 HDRIs. I'm still not sure whether or not different materials will look better in different. Yeah, I think this is good for just having. Oh no, I don't want to press render. Let me just render that again. I think this one, composite, this one, I think this one is just good for glass, I think. But, and this is just for my own use. Maybe I'll try this at 0.5. In some sense, this HDRI is good for. This one is good for. Good for showing the sculpt. Good white light for showing the sculpt. And I think it's 0.5. Let me try 0.2 and see if there is some color in the shadows. But I think I'm not going to use this one. Yeah, I think this would be like, let's say I'm just gonna quickly look at the main camera. And these are all just free HDRIs that I grabbed from some Blender add-on. Yeah, I think it's not really what I want for this. So I'll put this kind of like a bit further away so that I can keep these quite close. And then put this here. The rim light on this HDRI is quite nice. And I think before I make any changes, I'm going to save these in a new file. So today is the 24th, 2024-09-16. Messmer renders. And for the file names, it's also 24-09-16. Okay, so let's see. Number 1, I guess I'll save this as 1. I'll save this as 2. Just saving them out right now because sometimes I will accidentally render over the wrong slot. It kind of sucks to just suddenly lose some of the renders that I want. Okay, so I've saved these. So I'll stick with this one and this one, but I want to, I can start rendering over the slots. But I want to see what it looks like. Did I press render? You see, like sometimes when I press F11, I accidentally press F12. Well, this is the wrong camera angle, but I guess it's cool to see what this looks like. So I'm gonna go back to this camera. Although this might be quite a bit too purple, maybe. I'm going to render this angle with double the strength. And then I guess I rendered this. So if I compare this to this, forgot to disconnect this. Okay, 0.5 maybe. If I think if I bring this down a bit, so like right now I find this area too bright, but I kind of like, I like how this HDRI is giving the blues in the shadow, the orange in the highlights. I'm not really sure whether this is too bright, but maybe it's alright. I'm just gonna see. Yeah, I think it looks quite nice, and I like that it retained a lot of these even though everything else is darker now. So I think that's good. Not really sure whether I want to go even lower, but I will try 0.3. I'm gonna try and render this. So I think for at least this camera angle, I'll be using this one. So I think if I put it at the max, yeah, so if I put it at the max strength with the front on camera, I think, was it this one? It looks like this. I think it's one of my favorites. Like, this one is too, I think it was too orange for me. And this material is quite white. It's like off-white. So I think just having a mild orange tint would be good for the renders, I think. Yeah, so I think I'll keep this one. Yeah, I might use, like, it can change later on, but I think I'm gonna use this one. But before that, let me fix the background, because I'm just gonna cross this off for now, because there are some empty areas. And like, let's say, where are you? So this is the default. You know, this is not the default. This is the default, so you can see that there's this huge area right here, and there's this over here. So I need to cover these two. And I think for this one, I just duplicated this mesh right here, and I moved it to this area here. But I think where's the snake cam? But I think it's not really covering enough, I think. So I'm just gonna look around here. I might need to rotate it too, although I feel like maybe I don't really remember how to use this, but I think if can I move the 3D? Because wait, how do I move the how to move the 3D cursor? Shift right click. Okay, so I'm going to shift right click on the base. Yep, that's good. And I'm going to transform around the 3D cursor. Yep, that's good. And I'm trying not to make this and this too similar. I think it's pretty easy to spot the similarity. I think maybe if I do this, maybe if I scale it up and then axis, like maybe that would be good. And then just push it up a bit more, rotate. Maybe rotate around. How do I rotate around? Is it a gimbal? Wait, if I rotate this. Oh, it's that. So maybe I'll rotate. I want to rotate this way. Yeah, maybe rotating this way makes more sense, because then it'll show these curves right here. I think that would be good. And then I don't want to make this too straight, but right now it's kind of right now it's kind of too extra. Like, not sure whether or not this is too straight up. Maybe like that. It's gonna be out of focus, so I'm just making sure that it's just covering the space. I think that's fine. Okay, let's move on. Now the left side. Let me just see if okay, so this one is out of frame, so I can use it, but at the same time it might look weird. It might look weird if I just use that one. So maybe what I can do is to, can I bring one of this? Maybe this one? Maybe I can take this one, because it's the empty area starts from quite low down, but then it's quite short. But maybe I can extend it upwards. Let me see. So I can use this one maybe I can use, I guess I'll just bring these three. I'm gonna shift D to duplicate and escape to reset, move it to duplicate mesh, and yeah, time to move them here, and right here I will do this. Maybe I'll move them further away by a bit, just a tiny bit. So that I make full use of them. I guess I'll put it, I have to put it like that. Maybe rotate these. If I rotate, what was it again? Shift right click. Okay. Maybe I'll rotate it on this. Okay, so rotate this way. I need to set a dedicated screen to show that. So I think this is nice. So this is traveling outward. I'll try to rotate it that way, just so that it covers more ground. Then maybe like that. Right now I can't risking having two parallel lines in the negative shapes. So let's rotate again. Yeah, maybe this looks quite good. Oh, actually maybe this one looks quite good. Can't really make up my mind. But you know what, maybe this looks quite good, so I will move it. I think I'll move it like this, because I think the problem with the 180 degrees before that is that this point connects to this, and then it kind of makes like this huge shape right here that is too straight for me. I think this is good, and it's kind of nice that the flames are in, kind of looks like it's originating from Messmer's speed. Like these right here, they are kind of in line with it. I think the only thing is, I'm not really sure whether I need to bring this down, or let's see if I try to expand it just a little bit to, if you hold down shift, you can also do incremental adjustments. So yeah, I'm not sure whether, I think this might be better. And then to cover this area right here, because this area is quite filled, I'm gonna use this one. Let me just check which. Maybe I need to rotate this too. Maybe I can. Oh, so the gimbal is doing something. Okay. So maybe I can. Do I want it to face the same direction? Or do I want it to face that direction? No, I don't want to delete. Maybe it makes sense for this to be the opposite direction of this one. And I'm just gonna make it quite big just to like do a quick. Yeah, I'm not sure whether this is like, maybe this is working, like maybe this is good enough for this angle. I'm also not sure whether I want to put it behind, but maybe it makes sense for it to be behind. Like this might be good. So I'm gonna render it in another slot so that we can compare before and after. Okay, so I think this is a bit too distracting. I'll just do the same thing as the right side where this thing disappears out of frame. And the good thing is that the base is out of frame. So I can just cheat a bit and kind of like just push it out this way. Yeah. And maybe I make it more skinny. Like that, so that I can move it a little bit more this way. And yeah, I'm not really sure whether or not. Yeah, I think I'll just keep this, even though the details are not that strong. But I think it's probably good enough. Sometimes I accidentally press print screen instead of F12. It's still a little bit too. I think it's creating too uniform space. So maybe I'll just like push it up a bit more, just so that the space here is different from the space here, the negative space. Like this is going to be out of frame too. And I think I think that should be good. I think the only change that I want to make is to move it. I guess move it further away. How far away do I want it though? Because I want it to be quite blur. Because there are not a lot of details on this flame. Not a lot of details, so having a defocus would really help with this. And whenever I'm unsure about a change, I'll just swap to a new slot and render in that new slot. I think it also helps to push this back because right now it's really bright. The light over here is bouncing on this. So having it push further back, it will catch less of that light and I don't need to deal with. Let me just do this again. It's just a bit too high right now, so I will bring it down. Thing like this. Maybe I just cut into, and I think this will settle the blank space on the left side. Wait, which one is older? I guess this is the older one, and this is the new one. Let me just re-render to check that that's the new one. So, so snake cam is done. Yeah, so this is done. I'm gonna do a defocus test just to make sure that everything looks good. And I can just render it over the same one so what I want is for this to be very out of focus, because that also helps to push everything in front forward. And I think that's good. Although now that I think about it, maybe it doesn't make sense for this one to be in front of this. I keep changing my mind. You know what? Let me just quickly bring this forward like this and render. Then this way I can just make sure that my doubts are cleared when it comes to this. Yeah, you know what? Actually, having this over here further in front keeps the frame, keeps the whole overall shot tighter. So I'm just going to changing my mind, but it's not that much. It's not that much different. I'm just gonna bump this up a bit, like that, making sure that the negative shapes are not that bad too. I just don't like how thin this is over here on the edge of the frame. I feel like it kind of stands out too much. But just to be sure, I will render in a different slot. So I'm keeping this shape right here, but it'll be further forward. Like so. I think that's good. Yeah. I think the only thing is that this intersection is quite strong. Maybe I'll just bring this down a little tiny bit. So I press G, Z, and hold down Shift as I make this super tiny adjustment and render. I know that would be faster to do like a render region to check what I want, but that's also precisely why I lowered down the specs for the renders, just so that a frame render would be quite fast. So kind of like nitpicking on this. I kind of prefer this. So instead of moving, I'm going to put the 3D cursor here and just mildly adjusting, just push it out a little bit. And I think I like the previous one more. Can I just undo this? Is it under resize? So if I undo one more time, yes, under. Okay, so maybe I just don't do it that much. Just push a tiny bit. Is that too much? Okay, so I like the adjustments that I made, but right now I'm kind of like contemplating whether or not I made the wrong decision. But I think I made the correct choice based on my personal preference. And if I don't say that, I'm just gonna go nuts because I'm gonna spend like the next hour adjusting this. So that's like really good for now. So now that is done, I'm gonna focus on lighting the scene. So I think what's missing from here, let's just look at, is it this one? trying to find the this one. What's the difference between this and this? I think this one doesn't have any HDRI. So I'm just gonna look at this. So I like the light hitting them, but I think that's also something that I was wondering if I could improve on, because this lighting was not meant for this camera angle. So I'm going to save and drink some water. And before I forget, I made a plane. There's this plane that I made that has a higher wall at the back. The reason why I have two of them is because this wall is going to block some of the HDRI lighting. And you know what? I think it is blocking. It is blocking. Yeah, it's blocking more than I thought. Okay, so I'll just stick to this plane. I don't even know why I wanted to change it. Just doing this. Kind of wondering whether I want to keep the intensity of this. But I think like it's quite bright on this. Not sure whether if I bring it up. Yeah, it's just gonna cut off there. So I'm gonna undo that. Maybe 5. Because I don't want it to be so strong either. Like right now it's fine because it's the only light in the scene. But I don't want it to be the main light source. I just want this to act as kind of like an environment flame kind of lighting. I kind of just want this to act as the orange glow of the flames around, but not too much. You just maybe I'll make it more orange, and then I'm going to add a light source to the top. I think this one's too. Actually, it's not too bad. Okay, I'll stick with this random color that I chose. And I think it's not bad. So now, although I kind of wonder whether or not I should move it. Whether I should move it to the left a little bit more so that it shines more on this and less on this. I'm gonna gonna take a look on what this looks like. Okay, so it's too much to the left. I'll just move this more, like I'll move it back. Okay, so I like that bringing the area light forward towards the camera shines this more. But I think I'll just move because like right now there's a lot of light on this, and it kind of makes the shot quite uncentered in a way, like off center. I'm just gonna bring it back, and hopefully this one will look more like the lights are in the middle, or focus in the middle of the scene. Yeah, so I think this is a good placement because it kind of fixed this portion right here, this super sharp and bright area, and it puts more light on this. The snake kind of looks the same, but I guess that's like this just how much I can add with this. And I guess it's nice that Messmer's legs are brighter, so it pushes the darkness of the snake forward. You can totally tell sometimes I'm bullshitting my way out of this so that I can rationalize my work. Okay, so I mean that's also something that I've been trying to train over the years, but like, yeah, I'm not really sure whether I'm not really sure whether it's like a Asia culture society, like cultural thing where people like your parents, your relatives, or family, friends, I mean less so friends I guess, although sometimes with friends it's like a whole opposite spectrum of like being too agreeable with everything. But like in the environment that I was brought up, there was a lot of emphasis on pointing out what is bad, and when things are going well or when someone did something well, whether it is like appearance or the work that they do around the house and things like that, that like it's like no one really come out and like praise on the efforts that you spent on the good stuff. So like, which I feel like is kind of what kind of developed my depression as a kid, like since young. That maybe not as a kid because I was kind of like just in my own world and drawing all the time, but as I grew up older and older and I tried to be more aware of my surroundings, it just made me more depressed because like you're just so it's just like so ingrained in our culture to just point out the negative aspects in life. But yeah, and like I find, especially this year when I'm trying to change my mindset, that whenever I'm doing my work, like I don't understand why, but I just pick out so many negative aspects of it, and I don't really like it. Really gets in the way. It makes me feel like shit. But yeah, so that's something that I'm training myself a little bit by bit every day, to just point out the kind of like the little things that are working better, kind of like the tiny improvements that I'm making every single day. I think that really helps with just being less anxious in general. I mean, of course it is. You can't like just look at a bad piece of work and be like that is incredible or something. Like you still need to put some reasonable judgment in things. But yeah, as long as I'm improving a little bit every day, I take that as a really good progress. Okay, so lights. I'm still unsure about whether I want to use point lights, because like I like how the point light shines in a sphere, but then the shadows are always quite harsh. So I think, let me just collapse this so that it's easier to see. I'm just gonna try at area light again, because it's the 3D cursor is there. How do I reset the 3D cursor? How to move 3D cursor back to origin. Control C. Wait, what? Isn't that just copy? Wait, layout, object, mode, object, snap. Oh, right. Snap and cursor to world origin. Hey, that's good. Now I can create the light in the origin. Move this up. It's kind of like insanely bright right now. I'm gonna bring this down. Maybe this too dark. So sometimes when I'm setting up lights and I don't really know how to move forward from like getting stuck, or in some sense art block, what I like to do is to just look around. I mean, of course this differs for scenes, and I guess this one applies to my scene because it is quite complex. There are a lot of elements going around. But I think I recall, if I look at the initial one, I kind of like this light down here, and I kind of recall that this light that's shining on them is coming from the point light that I put on Messmer's, in front of Messmer's flame for the front camera shot, for the main camera shot. So when I kind of like stuck and just going to look at this and like, oh, you know, that kind of makes sense to me in the scene. that there is a light source coming down here, and it's coming from Messmer's plane, because Messmer's plane embraces everything. And I'm gonna move it. Yeah, the thing that I'm not really sure about right now is whether or not I want to put it directly on top of them, because it will flatten out. See, I always like to point at my camera screen, but not camera screen, on my point at my computer screen, but I forget that the camera is not pointing at my screen. Let me just try to, like, so you see that this the light being a bit not like directly on top of them creates a nice gradient and fall off. And if I move it back to right above them, so right now the area light is kind of like going through the snakehead, that it's quite flat. Maybe what I can do is to set this down to kind of like lower down. Let me switch this off and then turn this on. But yeah, I'm not really sure if kind of like this more. And just to check, let's make a render and check that it is the case. So for anyone tuning in and you're confused at what I'm doing, I'm just live streaming a real-time Blender work for my personal project, and I have no idea what I'm doing, because like this is like my first time lighting such a complex scene. I mean, I say that's complex, I don't know whether other people feel like this is complex or not. But yeah, like, I guess in some sense, like, doing the live stream is enforcing me to be more organized with my time, and to, you know, do the work and put my work out there while I'm doing work. But like, I hope that, like, if anyone out there is struggling with Blender, that we can both struggle together. Because I don't have any artist friends around me who is doing 3D work or sculpting or Blender work too. So yeah, and like, Blender can be really intimidating, even for me right now. But I find like maybe I can impart some not really wisdom, but I guess I just put it as wisdom, but like impart some wisdom on how I deal with not being overwhelmed with things and just doing my work. So right now, this is too bright, so it's kind of like stealing the show from this. So you see like how with this, my attention comes back to this, and now when I introduce this, it's doing that. It might be the case that I should just do a point light instead and put the point light in the center right here. Although this is Yeah, I think point light would make more sense because say right now the area light is shining a lot on these large surfaces in the background. And Messmer's arm is right on top. So it doesn't make sense for me to make the area light smaller and still put it on top of him, I think. So I'll change this to a point light. I think in general I only use point light and area lights. I don't really use spotlights. Maybe because the scenes that or the lighting that I'm doing is like less spotlight. Okay, so this, let me just see what the differences are. So right now there are less light hitting the back face over here. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll just, why am I adjusting this angle? I should be adjusting here. So going down. So bringing it down will help to fix the issue of the light hitting this upper forearm edge. But also now it's hitting his skirt too hard. So I will move it. Also the other thing is that do remember to set the radius just a little bit so that the shadows are softer. I'm not really sure how to use this for point light because when it's at 1, let me just, when it's at 1, it, I mean, does it work differently or it doesn't? Maybe 500. Nope, not that 500, 0.5. I think the only way to find out is to duplicate this. I'll set this to 2 and set this to 0.01 and then just compare the look of this versus, yeah, the lighting for this is more intense, but maybe the area light with the lower intensity is what I want. Okay, so I'll move this one forward. Okay, what does this do? It's like an overall fill light. I don't think that's what I want. You know what, maybe the spotlight. Maybe today will be the first day that I use the spotlight. I keep going back on what I say, like just literally seconds ago. Let me put a spotlight and bring it up. Maybe this makes more sense. And then I will, why is it so big? I'll shrink it down. Oh my god. I will shrink it down. Okay, and then I'll move it up. Not maybe spotlight is the way. And then move it. I mean, like, move it this way. I guess I should rotate it. And use it as a fill light. Something like that. You know what? Maybe spotlight is really good. So just making sure that it's not being blocked. So the camera is here. Wonder whether I should hide, and you know what? I'm not gonna bother with that. Maybe it's better if I angle it more. Something like this. Angle it more like that. Put it more behind. Something like that. Okay. And then do a local transform. I think something oh yeah, 0.01. Here, wait, what if it's 1? Yeah, it's having the same problem. 0. What is this? Okay, it's not necessary. What? I don't really like this. I guess I kind of like this original one more, even though it's not like a key fill and rim light theory. Zero 0.01 or maybe 0.05. Maybe that's too much. 0.02. 0.02. Sometimes it's also hard to. Oh, what's this? Oh, this is the softness. Okay, so maybe I can. Maybe I can do like a 0.3 for this. sometimes it's also harder to like, I do feel like there's some difference when I'm doing my work while listening to music compared to doing my work while talking on stream. Like doing my work while explaining what I'm doing, it feels different. Yeah, I kind of just in some sense this is cool, but like I still like what this one is doing. Maybe I should just remove his arm. I feel like his arm is really getting in the way. Or maybe I can just bring it. Wait, is this? Oh, this one's rendered. Maybe I can move the area light lower down, then it will catch his arm less. Like I also don't want to make this too complicated because like lighting is not my main. It's not really what I want to do, but okay, I guess goodbye spotlight. I'm really sorry for not knowing how to use you properly. This is an area light. I guess this was the default. Yes, I could switch this off. Yeah, in some sense, like, because the main idea for all these renders is to just show different angles, that it makes more sense to just do like a broader lighting with larger surface area. I guess I'll just call it that. I guess this one's different. Which one is this? Like this one's actually not bad. Like, did I change something? I need to stop doing this. Oh, and before that I should remember to save because I keep forgetting. Okay, let me see what's going on. Oh, it's a point light. No, I think the point light is doing something nice, but I guess I'll move it away from his torso just so that it's less bright. I'll put it in this empty space right here in the middle of everything, and I think that will give a more gradual fall off on the snake. And if I like this one, I'm going to put the power down a little bit so that it's not so intense, because I still kind of like this one. I like how it gives this really nice form on the snake. Oh, but like this is, I think this is good. Yeah, I think this is good. It's always exciting when things are going your way for once. like there's the issue of maybe now this is too straight or this is like too uniform, but it's very okay. Maybe I'll just move it a little bit more to the left again, something like that. And then wait, let me remember. I should remember to. Okay, this one is. This is the snake cam. It's really important to label your stuff because it's happens so often that when I come back, I have no idea what I did in the past. So let me go back here. I guess the run. Oh yeah, so I think it's a little bit better because it's less straight. I think. So now this. Oh yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah, so I'm kind of looking at this. I'm like, this thing looks really sharp. I don't really like it, but just shifting the light a little bit more to the left fix that issue. So that's a really happy accident. Also things like these, it makes the foreground pop out too much. So yeah, like sometimes just doing a little shift really helps everything. I kind of like this clay texture being giving this effect on this relatively flat geometry. I think same for these, although these will be replaced with the high-res models when I do the actual renders. But yeah, like it's looking really cool. I think back to this, I like the quality of, I like how this kind of like creates the cylindrical shape of the snake. Like right now this is like too dark and this like is quite intense, like there's no feel like yet. But I also don't really want to put, like if I'm saying like too much, well, my delts are so sore from bouldering. I only notice it right now when I was grabbing this paper. Let me just check that this is the, so normally in the scene, like let's say this is your sculpt here and this is the top view, the camera is over here. There's like this lighting principle where you have the fill light somewhere and then you have the key light. So this is fill light. Feel like this to imagine if right now there's intense shadow and light, the fill light will help to fill. I mean, that's why it's called fill light. I hope that this is quite clear. I mean, there's so many tutorials out there anyway. I'm just going through this as a refresher to myself. And then the key light is kind of like the light source that will make whatever parts of the sculpt that you want to stand out. And then there's a rim light here that will help to, let's say if you have a dark lighting setup like that. I feel like the rim light is not really showing, but it will help to cut out the silhouette of your sculpt like that. I guess like you can kind of see that there's this bright edge on it. So I'm kind of using those principles, but not really following it too. Yeah, so I want to keep this, although this might be a problem. So I'm gonna, I need to stop doing that. Let me see. I feel like this is quite confusing, so I'll just call this a spot. And which one is this? Wait, no, this is not a spot, this is a point. Point. And this spot, delete. This area light is this the area light? Or is this the point light? It is the point light. Yeah, let me just check that the point light that is acting as a fill is working out fine, or whether or not I want to revert that back to an area light. Because if it works out, then that's also good. So it's on the slot 4. Yeah, it's not doing the effect that I want, so I will delete this because I don't need it. Yes, and I'm gonna create a new area light, bring it up again, maybe around here, bring the power down a bit first. I think 1 is good. Okay, let me just check what this looks like. Yeah, I think to create this look, I shifted the light closer to where Messmer's flames are. So I will move this. I will move this over to the head again. Is it there? And then change this to 0.5, because now that when there's like more and more lights coming in, everything just builds up. 0.3. Like I just want it to be a really soft fill light like this. So render with this. I feel like it's wrong, but let me just see what did I do to this one. Or maybe it's because it's higher up. There's something that I like compared to the previous area light is that the previous one was making this quite flat, whereas the one now is less flat. But I kind of want to have this area filled. Also, this one is a bit too bright, I think. Although maybe that doesn't matter that much. So, need to stop doing this. Stop. Okay. Maybe. What do I do to make that? Is it just by scaling it up? Sometimes I forget what. Sometimes I should remind myself to duplicate lights when I want to make changes, so that I can save. I can just revert back when I need to. What was this doing? Okay, what if I maybe bring it forward a bit? Kind of vaguely recall that it was clipping the wings a bit. Okay, maybe that would be good. I think it's because the power is quite low right now. I just do like a bright. I think I'll just do a bright light and see whether or not it's getting the same kind of effect. Yeah, it's like kind of. This is quite cute. Okay, I'm just going to put it back. Behind. Kind of where his flames are. And maybe around there. And maybe a bit maybe a bit backlit. I think it's getting close to what I want it to look like. I don't need it to match the previous one, but I think right now this I don't like this flatness on this part, so but then the fireball's gonna clip. So well, I guess I'll just move it here. More like that, and then maybe reduce this a little bit, maybe 0.8. Maybe I move it more there and rotate it. Oh wait, no, I think I can just rotate it that way. Maybe. Then maybe this way. Let me just undo that. Maybe I just have to move it back in space again. Maybe I should just go really big on this. And then the next thing that I should do is just test render this with different materials just to see how they look like. Yeah, I guess making it bigger helps with the I think this is before, this is after. keep changing my mind. I think just trying to see where it hits. Now there's a light source coming from here. It might make more sense. Maybe it was the point light. I think if I try to move the point light like here. I think at this point there's nothing much else to say because it's really just about the fine-tuning. As you can see, I can get really stuck with this kind of stuff. But I think I've done quite an okay lighting. I think the only part which I would want to change is, first things first, I need to make sure that they are in the correct group. So under Snake Cam, new collection, one, two, three. I think that's good. I can also see the old lights and just take a look at whether or not I want to keep them. Because I guess even if I like this specific part here, it's just one small part of the image, and it kind of brings the attention away from these. So I think at the end of the day, I'm going to do something different from that. And I think, is this the final? Yeah, so this is the lighting that I've chose. I think. I think this one is too white. Let me, oh, keep forgetting about this second column. Okay, let me render that again and see whether or not I want to use any of the existing lights that I have. And just do like a quick comparison to see what it's doing. So this is just making everything messy, so I'm not going to use that. I think this one is too much. This one, let me just see what this one does. I think it would be a no for me. Just because of how hard it's hitting this when I just want this to be pushed back further. So nope. I'm not really sure about this one. Let's just like most likely I'm not using it. Although I guess there is quite a nice quality to it, that it's differentiating the different layers. But then at the same time, it kind of adds more noise. So I think it's a no. So I think the lighting for one camera angle is good. Yeah, I don't know what is a good speed to do all this kind of stuff, but I think as long as at the end of the day I get something done, it's really just good enough for someone like me who cannot finish anything. So I think, yeah, I think that's pretty good. So now I'm going to try and just render the pole material, and let me see. Let's just try something reflective first. Make sure to save. So I have the metal. The glass kind of work only in really bright settings. So I'm not gonna use that in this dark render scene. So that is the metal piece. I think just to be sure, I will render out the clay on its own so that I can save that and use it as a reference. But yeah, this is my first time doing dual materials, which is, I think, is something that I would want to do. Although I guess this clay and the gold is not really working out, but who knows. I'm just gonna save it later on. Let me do this so that I can save it here and save it in my files later, and then render with this. So that I can save this later on. Let me render it in this slot. And then just render this out so that I know what this looks like. After that, I'll just do this for the sake of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So I guess the good thing of doing a render setup with a default material is that once you change the material to something more reflective, like high specular, or I guess brighter in a sense, that like it's quite safe to say that it looks quite good in with other shaders. You're not really sure about the glass, but I'm just going to, oh, that looks quite nice, I think. This is 6. But I don't think I'm gonna post this online on like Instagram or anything, but I just have to see what it looks like because I'm quite curious. So this is the blue glass and this is the default glass, which is a bit black, but yeah, like when I look up online, the tips for reducing these areas where the light doesn't come in, I guess, maybe like this, is to increase the number of light bounces for renders. But I feel like there's enough light bounces in for my renders. Maybe because this is more detailed, I don't know. Like maybe all these turning and twisting requires 20 bounce light or something, but if I need 20, then I might as well just don't do it. Yeah, so I think it looks quite cool for my own view. Okay, so that's all the materials. I think this looks really cool. I think the only thing would be that I feel, I mean, as much as there's all the complexity and details going on, like compared to a professional sculpt, my sculpts are lacking some. I mean, on one part that would be fixed when I am done with the blender side, and I'll go in and fix up wherever for 3D printing. But like the cloth material, kind of something like these, it's not there. Like those kind of really micro details are not there, and I feel like it's really visible not having those kind of details. In some sense, that's quite there's like this roundness to it, which is a little bit unpolished. But so I was thinking maybe I'll just like fix it in paint for now and just move on. Yeah, this is quite cool. So I will save these. Let me save them as news renders version 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, so I think they have come a long way. Yeah, you know, I think the dual material would help a lot. So things like the spear having some sort of metallic sheen will help a lot to differentiate the different layers. I think this is really fine too. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should look at it with fresh eyes. I guess like one issue would be that Messmer's legs are kind of too inline. But I think when I angled the camera down a bit, that it didn't look that good. Or did it? Did it look fine? Let me try. So this is the look. Maybe now's a good time to do this. And then yeah, like how do I like to separate the snake from Messmer, I'll need to move quite a lot. I'll need to angle it quite a lot, and the problem is that there's nothing over here to block up the space, I think. And like I can really just go in and nitpick for hours, but it's really not productive when I need to move on in projects. So I think I'm just happy with this. Maybe the thing that I'll do is to make sure that this snake and him have different materials. I think that would be good. I don't know, like would a rim light be good? But I don't really want to add more lights. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like difference in colors would also help, but I'm not really sure what. Like I know that the snake is red, and if I want to do it based on colors, snake skirt would be red, and they're not they're kind of like out of the way of each other. But I'm also not really sure whether or not I want to, like, even if I put it here, I don't really know if I want to do that. No, I think I don't really have to think about that now, because I should limit the time that I spend on each camera angle. I think the other angle that I really want to work on would be, not sure whether I want to work on the face or the cape first. Because I can also just see, I mean, since I've already rendered this, I can see how the other camera angles look like with the new lighting. One, two, five. Oh wait, I have 6 camera angles. Yeah, it's looking quite flat, so this one is not working out. Because if I can reuse lighting, I think like this is definitely not working. How about this one? I guess there's some cool aspects about this one. But yeah, it's not. They're definitely not working, so I should do. I mean, the original ones work a lot better for these, but I guess I hope to improve it, because like this one, I don't like the spear being so bright here. Like it kind of stands out too much. I like the way that the flame is kind of shining a light here, but at the same time, maybe I should be putting the light source closer to this angle instead of here, because I think putting it here would make more sense for this camera angle. So yeah, I think though that it's time for dinner, and I should take like a break away from the file so that I can come back with fresh eyes and make more reasonable judgment with fresh eyes. But yeah, I'm happy that this one, I'm happy that it's done. I think I should Just neatening this up a bit. I'm still not sure whether I want subsurface. Maybe it really doesn't make sense. Oh, there's like a plane in the background. It's quite loud. Yeah, in some sense, this is already. I just really like this kind of material, so I think it doesn't. And this one has a little bit of soft surface already, so I think it doesn't really make sense to create something new. So I think yes, it's time. It's time for dinner. I will be back later on with, let's work on this angle. After dinner, let me just remove these. So snake lights are good. Just disable this, because that's just for sneak cam. This is the main cam. I'm still not really sure about this camera angle. I just like the dynamic feel of how. Oh, it's so dark. I just like the dynamic feel of the wings from the top view, but I'm really not sure about it. I just want to see how this looks like with glass. Yeah, it's a bit. There's too. Oh, so I can't use the material with ridges on this angle because the ridges are made by noise patterns, and the noise patterns, they only work from this angle here. Once you rotate 90 degrees, you can see the lines are just straight down all the way. So I guess it's good that I checked, but you can see the straight lines going down. Like, I can rotate the noise pattern, but it's also kind of a bother to change them all the time, maybe. But then maybe it might be good if I should, you know what. Okay. Thanks for tuning in this stream. I hope that... Oh. Bagu. Well, like all these names I cannot pronounce. Just open the chat. Thank you for coming by. I like these are not meant for tutorials, but what? I don't really know what I'm doing. But yeah, I hope that it kind of like gives you an insight of how I go about doing my work, how I go about building. Kind of like this is my first time doing such a complex scene for both sculpting and for lighting and rendering. So like in some sense, I guess I just want to share the feelings that I have from doing things from scratch and going through the problems and problem solving for the problems as I go. So even if it's not a tutorial, I hope that maybe you might pick up something too or learn something. But yeah, I'll continue this later on. Maybe later after dinner or tomorrow. Like I'm trying to stream more often now that I am just like a little bit more organized with my work in a way, because like it used to be that I can't do any work because of how anxious I get of like, you know, just doing things too slow or doing things like comparing myself too much and feeling like the work that I do is not good enough and all that. But I think I'm learning really well how to deal with emotions like that. And I feel like I've been doing my work more consistently now. I'm not really sure whether it's because like I'm doing something different. I'm doing a Blender lighting and rendering setup for my sculpt, which is very different from sculpting, from working on sculpting. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think I am overcoming little by little the feelings of not being able to do work. So hopefully I can stream more often and just progress the work bit by bit and get it done so that I can post the renders on Instagram, which I haven't touched for a really long time. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that I picked up this challenge of sculpting Messmer, because I think before this I would have never expect, or like I would have never dreamt that I can sculpt something like this. But here it is today. Hey, good job, me. Okay, going off for dinner. And see you in the next one, where I will be working on this one and this one. See you.